All right, welcome everyone to this call. My name's Casey Council-Geha. I know there's some of you that may be jumping on for the first time that I've not yet met, so I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit today. As we start this call off, it is designed to be 30 minutes, and it is a two-part series. So today is part one of two parts. At the end of today's call, there'll be action items for you to do and go work on and come back to part two of this call, which will take place next week. I'll tell you a little bit about how this call came about. There is a leaders call that a conversation that started recently on a leaders call, and we were, talking about this time of the year and how at the beginning of the year, everyone, or not everyone, however, people that are business people and treating their business like businesses are looking at, the previous year of what worked, what could be improved, what were my goals, what did I hit, what did I learn, and reassessing and getting clear on, okay, what do I want to create in the coming year? And how many of you have ever had the experience where you feel like each year you could be in a process of goal setting, but not necessarily goal achieving? Just by a show of hands. I know I've been there, like set some big, I was married to Rick for so many years, and he would talk about big, hairy, audacious goals. And if the order of those words didn't go, and someone would sometimes repeat them and say hairy, big, audacious goals, like the visual just gets all messed up. But he would say big, hairy, audacious goals, and set big goals at the beginning of the year, recap at the end of the year, and it's like, oh man, not there, not even close there. And then, okay, I'm going to go set some more goals for the year in the areas of my life, personally and professionally. And here we are off to the races, essentially doing a version of the same thing over and over again, attempting to continue to strive. And there's nothing wrong with that per se. However, what we discovered over the years and have done as a practice over the years is, do we set goals? Yes, absolutely, we set goals. But more importantly than setting goals is setting a context for the year. And so today, what the call is going to be about is the power of setting a context, why you would want to do that, what it is, and how to do it. And then the call for next week will actually be me coaching and facilitating somebody who thinks they've got one, but they're not sure or 100% dialed in. Like, that you have your context set when it is in your bones and irrefutable, not just sounds like a good idea. And so why would we set a context for the year? I attended a personal development training many, many, many years ago in 2006, where this idea of context was introduced as a bowl of fruit, and the fruit being the content and the bowl being the context. In other words, what holds the fruit. So if we think about that in relation to your goals in life, your goals in business, and the goals are the fruit, what is the context that you're setting that's going to hold those throughout the year? And it's not picking a word. There's a ton of stuff on social media, which is exciting. And to me, it kind of sits in the same thing of New Year's resolutions. It gets the energy going and gets people thinking differently. And it's like, well, what's my word going to be for this year? But in times past, years and years ago, I know Rick would pick a word, I would pick a word, and we would get, 3 or 4 months into the year. And I would be like, what was your word for this year? And he's like, I don't know. Let me check my notebook. And so picking a word for the year didn't actually do anything. It was something exciting to do in the month of January. And it's like, oh yeah, my year is going to be about this word. However, then picking a context is something that's totally different. And so why you would want to pick a context is it's going to be the thing that can hold you, that can guide you, that can support you through every decision that you will or will not make in the coming year, and give you a reference point to write the story that you're going to write around whatever happens. I'm going to give you an example of that, and it's going to seem really extreme, but it's a real life example just to get you thinking about and understanding the power of context. So at the end of 2022, Rick and I would come together, and he would set his context for himself. I would set mine, and then we would set one together as a couple. And that's because, we're two individual people working on two individual, experiences in life, right? We're in different places totally. And he is who he is, and I am who I am. And so, of course, it would make sense that we have different individual contexts. Yet at the same time, in this thing called life, we're very much in all aspects of business together and personally together as well. So picking a context as a couple was very important. And for the last 10 years, that's what we did as well, because it was the thing that was going to hold our relationship, that was going to hold our life and be that guide that we could come back to. And when we checked in about what we were experiencing in our relationship with each other, come back to that context and be like, oh, are we using it? Are we doing it? So to give you an example of context, and there's many different things that you could pick. And so this is going to move into the how you pick your context for the year. One of the exercises that we do is to go through a conversation with yourself, and you can be doing this, and just take an inventory and take an assessment. And think about your experiences of 2023. And maybe some patterns, some blind spots, some habits that you have, maybe ones that don't serve you, or ones where you constantly are in an experience. It's like, there's a kind of a rub, right? When I look back on 2022 and I think about what was the rub, for me, it was all of the business travel. And because of how much travel we'd done over the years, and was business travel necessary for our goals to support what we were committed to creating? Yes, absolutely. But 48 hours before the business travel, when Rick is excited and picking out his clothes and coordinating outfits that are hanging in the room, and based on where we were going to be and how many different times he was going to get to change his clothes, and so excited about the fact that we were having business travel, I am sitting there like, ugh, we finally have our dream house. I'm sitting looking out at the ocean. The last thing I want to do is get on a freaking plane right now. Of course, I'm going to see Rosie, or I'm going to see Jessica, or I'm going to see Eric when I get there. And that's going to be great. And I'll be happy about that. And if I'm flying all the way over the pond to Spain, and I'm going to see Lisbeth, and I'm going to see Mia, then I'll be fine once I get there. But this experience of like the leading up to, and we went on a lot of business trips. So in 2022, when I was taking a personal inventory, I started to ask myself and look for those gaps of, well, what is the experience that I want to be in? Or what do I actually want to be feeling? Or what are the things that I am feeling that I don't want to be feeling, or that I don't want happening? And from there, what is the context that I could choose that would be that framework, that guiding light, that bowl that holds the fruit for all the things we're going to go do in 2023? And so we were in conversation between Christmas and New Year's, because we always, would spend that week getting clear on things, kind of recapping things. And I'm like, well, maybe this is my word. And he's like, well, that's a good one. He's so excited and, just about everything. I'm like, no, that's not it. And I said, no, I think it might be this. And he said, I think that's a great one. And I'm like, 2 days later, I'm like, yeah, no, that's not it. They said they were things that sounded good, but they didn't really land. And then it hit me about the business travel and how much we had done and what we were going to be doing in 2023. And I was like, oh, the one thing that could change everything if my context was joy for the year. And all of the things that I'm doing that are necessary to do to get what I say that I want, but aren't necessarily the things that I want to be doing to get what I say that I want. And if my context was joy, and it's 48 hours before we're going on a trip, and I'm watching him skip around and pick out pink shirts and blue shoes, and be happy about the fact that he was going to get to wear them and see people, and he was clearly joyful, I'm like, oh, joy. Maybe joy is my word. And as soon as I said it, he goes, that is absolutely your word. And he was so emphatic about the fact that joy was going to be my word. And so the reason I'm telling you this story is in the how to you land on the context word that you will pick for the year. It is what is going to be the one that is going to serve you the most to create a different experience and thus different results, right? When we change our energy, our awareness changes. When our awareness changes, we become aware of possibilities that are standing in front of us, or solutions that are standing in front of us that may have been there the entire time that we didn't see because we couldn't see them. So go into joy, right? Okay, we've got our words. It is the end of 2022, January 2nd. Now, we went into the why you pick a context, the process for how to pick a context, and then what to do with it is what we're going to talk about next. The what to do with it is to have it in big, bold letters, to wear it on your heart, to check in with it every day. If you have a morning practice that you start the day with before you go into the day, that is what you are married to becoming. Anything that you have that you've set for goals that you want to achieve or things that you want to experience are not going to be created by the version of you that exists today, because you would have already experienced them or created them. It's going to require a different version of you, right? So picking a context and using it every day in the what do I do today to go live that context more fully, is going to be where the growth happens, regardless of what's happening in life. Now, why do I say regardless of what's happening in life? Because a lot of times what can happen when you pick a context is that the opposite comes in. So my word for 2023 is joy. Right now, do I think, oh, I'm not gonna pick joy because what if sadness comes in? No, there's always sadness. But when the sadness comes in, if my context is joy, how's it going to serve me and how I'm going to go through anything that could potentially be sad during the year, right? And so I'm like, no, joy is my word. I can see it, like it's going to change the experience that I have. It will change the energy that I bring to everything that I'm going to create in 2023. And January 2nd, somebody that the number one person, man, that I looked up to as a mentor and as a friend and as a business partner died tragically in an airplane accident in his plane that went down. The three other people survived and he did not. And I have never respected someone that much, looked up to someone that much, or spent that much time with someone over the previous 13 years of my career. I'd been in Vietnam with him. I'd been all over Europe with him, monthly in Utah for 13 years for the business, another business that I have. And so it was, as soon as it happened, it was the wind sucked out of me. Like, I picked the context of joy for this year. And what I was experiencing was devastation. And of course, it would be so important for that to be my word for the year. So January 2nd, I have an opportunity to be living into my context. That doesn't mean I don't feel the devastation and I don't feel the pain. However, what it means is that I am committed to the word joy for the year. And now, what do I do when a circumstance that is so extreme comes up that flies in the face of the context that I set? And this is where the muscle gets developed, the growth happens, the new perspectives get chosen versus getting completely absorbed and just checked out in what's just happened. Because the truth is, life's going to happen for every single one of you on this call this year, today, the rest of the days of this year. It's going to happen for me too. And notice I say for, right? Your context is going to be, the word that you choose is so important because it's going to be the defining thing of how you're going to navigate all that you intend to create, that you go create this year, and all the things that come up and happen that you have absolutely no control of that may feel like they're in the way for you instead of on the way, right? So Nathan passes January 2nd. My context is joy. Rick passes October 10th. My context is joy. Yeah. And so I find myself, just to round out this story, and I want, the purpose of me sharing this story is for you to be thinking about these parallels for you and your life as you get clear on what your context is going to be. And you may be clear on it already, and you may take time to get clearer on it before we go into next week's call, where I'm actually going to help some people drill down. So it's December. It's, I made it to December and I'm in Cancun at a Joe Dispenza retreat. And Charlie, who's a very good friend and business partner, my new skin business partner, mentor, coach, and father to my godson, father to Rick's goddaughter, Sunny. His wife did the Celebration of Life video for Rick at the Celebration of Life for, 15, 16 years. We've been in business together. We've been picking contexts every year. We've been doing the, business goals. Like, this isn't just a habit and a practice. It's what we do. And so we're in Mexico, and I just said, Charlie, I don't think I'm going to pick a context for 2024 because I don't think I could live another 2023. And it's still 2023 and my context is still joy. And he just said, okay. And while we were on that trip that week, he went and he put up a Facebook post. And on that Facebook post, if you go back to it, I think it was like December 3rd or 4th or 5th or something. There's a picture of the two of us in the pool because during the breaks, during that week for the conference that we were at, we went and got in the pool and we swam laps as a way to just do something with our bodies and be active because we were starting the conference at 6:30 in the morning. And so we wanted to move our bodies. And so he'd put up a post that was basically the history of our relationship and what it meant to him. And in that post, someone made a comment, and it was Selena, who's on the call today. And then Jessica responded to that comment, and she said, Casey's about possibilities, not problems. And I read it right before I went into the pool to swim laps. And it is a long pool. It was like, well, I was not swimming to win a race. I was swimming to move my body. So it was like 5 minutes to get down to the end of this long pool at this resort in Cancun. And as I get in the pool, I get in the water, and there's two other people in the water. Charlie hasn't gotten in yet, and I'm swimming and I'm swimming and I'm swimming. And I'm thinking about this word about like, wow, somebody said about me that I was about possibility and not about problems. And as that is all happening, and I am swimming, I'm going to share with you what I saw. And this can be something for you to be looking for as well as it relates to you. And I don't see that I'm able to really make this photo any bigger. Here we go. Can everybody see the bird? So I'm swimming down the pool, down the lap pool. And what's unique about this bird is that the only kind of birds that I'd seen the entire time for the 5 days before were these blackbirds that were flying all over the place in Cancun. There was no other birds. So I'm in the pool and I'm flying down swimming, and this bird pops up. Well, now there's something very unique about the bird other than the fact that it wasn't black. And that is the fact that if you can see from where it's at, in its head, it is black, and then it is in a V, it's white, and then it's black, and then it's white. Now, interestingly enough, had been talking about in the conference that we were in, and then outside of that, how when people are black and white, good and bad, right and wrong, manic, depressed, like these swings that can happen in life, people live in these places and have really intense experiences as a result of being that black and white. And so it looks a little brown in this picture. However, in real life, the back of the bird was more gray. And to me, immediately in that moment, what that represented was that if you blend black and white together and you get more of a gray, you take the swings of manic and depressed out, good and bad, right and wrong, and you live in a place, of grace that you can keep moving forward. Now, the other thing about this bird that was so unique is that from its neck all the way down to its legs, it was bright yellow, which to me was the color, yellow is the color that I associate with joy. So as I am having the thought about possibility, and I am swimming down the pool and the bird lands there, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, what if possibility is my context for 2024? And I'm like, nah, I'm not setting the context for 2024. 2023 isn't over, and joy is still my context, and I'm wrestling with that one. And so I get all the way to the end of the pool, the bird flies off, and I'm coming back. And from out of nowhere, one and only one of that bird comes and lands on the edge of the pool. Now, this time I'm swimming towards it, and I'm about this far from the edge. And it's like, well, of course he's going to fly off the closer that I get. He did not move. And I'm thinking about this word possibility. I'm like, oh my goodness, how would possibility serve me in 2024? And not just possibility, but we had come out of that session talking about falling in love with the possibility. What if I fell in love with what's possible? What if I fell in love with possibility? And I'm swimming and I'm swimming and I'm swimming, and I'm right up onto the bird, and he has his back to me, but he has his head turned all the way around looking at me. I stop swimming. I'm this far from him, just pausing through the water, and he is staring me down, looking, not budging. And I'm like, oh my goodness, my stinking word this year is possibility for 2024. Well, I still have some work to do with joy in 2023. However, clearly my word is possibility for 2024. So I, get out of the pool, have a conversation with Charlie, laugh about it. 3 days later, it's the last day of the event, and we're walking into the conference room for the session. from the resort where we were staying, and there's no birds anywhere. And one of those birds flies over the top of my head as I am walking in the door of the building. And I said to Charlie, I said, look up, there it is. And it was a reminder, right? So why I went into this big, long story is it is about the context that you will choose for this year. And your context will be the container that holds you. It will be the thing that you use and can use if you use it the way it's designed to be used to navigate every experience that you're going to go through. It was very easy for me in the month of October to have a tendency to only see, feel, experience the devastation and miss all of the beauty that was happening at the same time. But because I had the context of joy, I was looking for the beauty every single step of the way while experiencing what I was experiencing. And so I saw those things and I found them and I experienced them. And it's the fullness of life that allowed me to get up, go one more day, and to keep moving and keep going. And so I am clear that there will be no accidents for you, for the word that you will choose this year to be your context. And as you get clearer on what that is, again, in the how to, going back to take an assessment of 2023 and maybe even before that. And if there was one thing that you could shift or one attribute that you could take on, that you could embody, that you could live, that you could bring to your personal and professional life every day, that would shift things profoundly, what would that be? And then more importantly, on a day-to-day basis, how are you going to use that as the opportunities present themselves that are completely out of your control? And then the opportunities that you will create by waking up, right? So every year, this year, with the exception of today, I have been up before the sun comes up. My word is possibility. And every morning the sky is different, as Bubba and I have been out on our 2.5-mile walk in the morning. And it's a reminder, it's like, it's possibility. It's not going to be the same, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be amazing. And what's possible and falling in love with the possibility. So I am like practicing that word, vehemently practicing that word. So what I'd like to do in the last 8 minutes that we have for today, just very clear that in session 2, we'll be coming back to have people have the opportunity to share their word. And I'll just do a quick tee up on that. In the leaders call that we were having, Will Higgins was talking about his word. And he said, my word's going to be family first. And I said, well, tell me about that. And he goes, well, my family's the most important thing for me. And with what I'm doing in my business, I want to create a family environment where people feel like they belong and are part of something, and that and so it's family first. And I said, okay, well, I can understand the family first on the personal side, but on the professional side, it was not as clear. I said, tell me what you mean more about family first as it relates to your business and your organization and what you're creating there. And he said, well, when people feel like they're a part of something and they feel like they're in, a family. And I said, okay, I'm going to challenge you though, because some families don't like each other and they fight and they hate. And he said, okay. I said, so keep going, on the family first stuff. And he's like, well, if people feel like it's somewhere that they want to be and that they belong and that they're cared for and that they can succeed and thrive. And that was the word, it was thrive, right? So it doesn't mean that he changes the context of family first. It just means that when he's talking about family first, as it relates to his physical family, that it's very clear that that's with his time, his energy, his love, his priorities, family first, right? In the business context, family first still works with anchoring what it actually means when he talks about it, which is creating a place where people are choosing to do their business for themselves with other people where they're thriving. And that family first in business is really about thriving. And so small distinction, but powerful distinction. So in phase 2 on our next call next week, anyone that wants to come with, I think I found what my context is. I'm not 100% sure that is from a process standpoint wants to drill down and go through that. That's what next week's call will be. Here's what I'll say to you though. Those of you that are leaders of organizations and in business, imagine the power if your leaders all were very clear on their context and you knew what their contexts were. And when you're having conversations with them about business and life in 2024, that is a reference point to come back to as a check-in. of how they're using it, where they're going, where they're growing, and what's happening, and the relationships and bonds that can be forged as a result of having a different conversation. Many of you that are on this call, attraction and recruiting, however you like to refer to it, is something that is a focus of yours. Imagine if you changed the conversation and the people that you're speaking with, and instead of talking about their goals and their business and what they're going to get and what they're going to create, what if you just asked a simple question? What's your context for the year? What kind of conversation could that open up? Because most people do not have an understanding or a relationship with context the way that we just described it on the call today. And so this is an opportunity for you to level up. It's an opportunity for, in your influence and your reach and the leadership and the influence that you do have, to be able to help other people rise with you. It's an opportunity to create that collaboration and connections and loyalty in a place for people to really grow and thrive together. And God forbid anyone have anything that just feels devastating coming towards them in 2024 or out of it in 2023, that the context that you choose for yourself this year will be something that continues to compel you to move forward and to draw yourself forward into what's next for you and for the people that you love and care about. So with that, we now have 4 minutes because I actually wrapped the call before I take any questions. However, if there's any questions, comments, feedback in the last 4 minutes that we have before we close out, I'm happy to take any of those.
I have a question, comment. I just want to acknowledge you because you're just a beautiful, powerful, incredible human being. And I just want to acknowledge you for who you are.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosie.
I'd like to chime in. I just want to say thank you for continuing to share with just such love and encouragement. Your personal journey is just dear to my heart too, and I appreciate you sharing. I've never been told to have like a context, so this has really shaped my focus for 2024, and I'm excited to come on the call next week and share with you what that's going to look like for my year, and I'm excited.
Fantastic. Yeah, and this may be new for it may be new for a lot of you, right? And and so it'll take some thought. I mean, sit with it. It's really about connecting to what's true for you and being introspective and being willing to take a look and being getting into your heart and actually feeling what would be the thing for me to shift, right? Such that if this thing shifted, what would be the impact of that all over the place in my life if I could shift this within myself, or the story that I tell about life, or the perspective or the attitude, or even in the things that are going to inevitably happen, how I use them for me versus things that could potentially stop me. Thank you, Amberly.
Casey, will this call be shareable or reviewable somewhere?
Yes, it is. So for those of you that want to invite people onto next week's call, we will have this recording that will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Once the link is ready to go, I will share it out through text for those of you that got texted today, and then into our Facebook group, as well as Facebook Messenger groups where this got shared and promoted. And then it will permanently be housed on the I got to decide where we're going to permanently house it on Empire Builders Pro so that it doesn't get lost in something else. But just so that you know, the intention moving forward based on the request is to have short series of things that build. So this is a 2-part series. The next one is creating meaningful conversations, and that's going to be a 6-part series that happens over the course of 6 different calls. And so the objective for this year is to bring things that are really relevant and helping people skill up, that of course will have business applications and personal applications, but that are a way to keep learning and growing together in snippets that there's an opportunity to go and integrate in between. So the integration on the outside of this call is, go take some time. You may think you land on your context, and then, a day, 2 days later, think about it as you're using it in your day. And if it is boom, that is it, you're on it. And if it's not, that's okay. Keep going. keep going. It can be a process. So I love all of you, and thank you for your love and for your support. It's felt, it's appreciated. I know I am for sure not the only person going through challenges and struggles in life. I know that we all are, and those are unique to each and every one of us. And just know that you're not alone, and you're surrounded by a community of people that have your back, that love and care for you, that want to see you win, and that are not giving up. So everyone make it a great day, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. All right. Bye.